everyone, welcome to my live stream. My name is Denise Hutchins and I am broadcasting to you from Studio Mikarts. Today is Wednesday, which means it's time for some illustration work. Before I get started, let me introduce our charity of the month. I think there's only a few streams left to help with fundraising for our charity, which is Food Empowerment Project. Happily, we have already met the viewer goal here on Twitch, but I'm still going to be making my personal donation based on my unique viewers count for the month. So please watch my stream and bring your friends to help contribute. Okay, so actually another thing before we start getting to work on this illustration. Look at this lovely, oh, whoa, it's so weird. Look at, oh, what hand is which hand? Oh, it's confusing. Here it is. My older streaming camera. I found out where it was. My youngest sister had it. So now I have what I wanted to do, which is to give a different view, since it's sometimes tough with this camera up here. Right now it's alright because there's so much color and contrast, it's easy to see. But I've been thinking for like months, that a camera like this, oh, it's so hard to decide whether I should point with this or point based on what this camera is seeing, or point based on what this can. Look at that. Anyway, this is the best view I could get. This camera doesn't actually zoom in or anything, so this is the best I could get without actually blocking, you know, like having it hanging over the illustration. I don't want it to be in the way of me actually working on this piece. So you can see this little buddy right here, and hopefully this little corner view is an interesting addition to my stream. I'm wondering if I should make it bigger, but I love how it's framing perfectly, so I want to cover up the main view, so I think that's good for now. I haven't got my whole space set up yet, so let's see. I want to get my paints out. This is my little watercolor kit, and let's see how I can do this, because I have my keyboard here for my laptop. Push that all the way in, and then I can push this in there. Maybe there we go. Okay, got my paints. Put them over here actually, so there's a little bit of space between the bowl and the palette, otherwise I'll be constantly hitting the bowl. Okay, but I also have to look out for the camera now, so hopefully I don't like get some paint on the camera. The lens is actually tiny. It's like half a centimeter. Yeah, half a centimeter at most. I'm looking at I have a ruler like right over there. Anyway, I'm not actually worried about getting paint on the camera lens, but I might bump this every once in a while, so sorry if that's disorientating. Okay, what else do I need? I've got my towels. I have 2 towels. One is for wiping my brushes on. One is for anytime I need to use a towel for something. Because I wipe and also set my brushes on this one towel. So 2 towels, that's what I figured out last week. It's best if I have 2 towels. What I really wanted to work on today, I think it'll make a really big impact on the whole image, is these baby Gryphons. I've been holding off because I wanted to finish the adult ones. They have a slightly different tint to their black feathers. These have a greenish tint. The babies are meant to have a brownish tint. So, and I was like avoiding it on other days, not just because, like, even once I was done with these, I didn't want to start on such a big thing. I want to do them all at once. So that's why, start of this stream, let's work on these baby Gryphons. That way I won't have the same issue that I had with this wing, where it's all super bright compared to the rest. It's all meant to be about the same shade of paint, but I didn't mix enough, because not only that, I had painted them different sessions, and so it ended up being super different. It's fine because this is just the base layer of paint, but let us mix up a nice brown tinted black paint color for the baby Gryphons. And I know I went through all that effort to get this over here, but this paint is almost gone. I think you can see there's hardly any in there. But I want to use up the older stuff as much as possible before putting a new blip of paint in here. So I'm going to mix it up as much as I can. I don't really need more water. There's plenty of water in here. I just have to keep mixing it to get the pigment to come off of the dry paint. Push the water into the chunks of dry paint, etc. It's just reinvigorating the paint with water. And since there's so little actual paint in here, it takes a little while because it's just tiny little chunks. Then I shall mix it on this green black that's left over from last time. I don't think I need any more of it. I'm quite happy with how dark the shading is on the adult Gryphons in this scene, so maybe I'll want to add more later, more shadow or something, but for now that's fine. We'll take a look at it when it's all done and see if there's anywhere that I really want to go darker or add more vibrancy or something. Okay, that's pretty good. Let's add a little bit more water. Now that it's mixed up really well, now I want volume. It's still supposed to be black feathers just with a brown tint. I imagine it how whenever I've had a black dog or a black cat and then they sit in the sun and their fur, you're like, where's my black cat? Because they're brown. They're so brown. It doesn't look black at all anymore. That's what I'm imagining for these baby Gryphons feathers. Feathers and fur. Because I decided to make them a uniform color, even though the animal I'm using for the back half of the Gryphon is not black. It's a tiger quoll. They are a nice, I don't know, a warm medium brown, not dark brown. Okay, I think that's good enough. And now there's plenty of water in here to keep passively soaking into the little chips of paint. And then if I need more brown later, that should be even better than it is now. But to start, let's put some of this down here on palette. And mix it with what's already here and see what that looks like. That might be good enough. I might not even need to wake up the black paint yet. The black paint well. Yeah. Although, I wonder if it's enough. The color, I like the color. But I don't know if this is enough paint. Well, let's try. Let's try it. Should I just go ahead and use this big brush? It is a bit big for some of these areas, but not too big. Let's just do it. Let's use the big brush. Cover areas faster. I might do some scraping on these areas at the end to bring back some nice bright highlights with texture onto the feathers. Though I imagine the baby's feathers to be a little bit more fuzzy, so might not actually have that much shiny texture. I do have my reference images so I can look. They're not open right now. They're on my computer. They're not open right now, but I do still have them. Right now, I don't need any though. I just need to paint these areas. Ooh, it's a bit tough in this teeny tiny area here. I just realized I don't have my monitor facing towards me, and convenient. I mean, it's facing towards me, but only it's like at a weird angle. But I can't stop now. I have to finish painting this so that it dries smooth. Do my best to use the teeny tiny tip, the tippy end of the brush, so that I don't... There's this thin strap for the party hat. Wow, that rhymed. I did not imagine that that would rhyme, but it did. Thin strap for the party hat. Anyway, I didn't want to lose that by accidentally painting too much since this is a gigantic brush. Somewhere I might put... I don't want to do scraping for it. I want to put some white ink or gouache highlights on the claws of this baby because they're sticking right out. They'd be catching the light. They'd definitely be nice and shiny. Oh, looks good. Okay, I've got to turn it. So sorry about this weird... I don't even know if you're going to be able to see me painting it. Oh, you'll see. You'll be able to see. I want to paint the... Oh, Jesus! Chappie, off! Chappie barking for some reason. Goodness. Sorry about that if that was super loud. She doesn't normally bark. But she's... No, Chappie. She's getting more and more barky. This year in particular. Oh, I'm gonna have to switch the small brush. So these little tassels are coming up. Ah! I've got to switch the small brush. There's no choice. Oh, and I have to hurry before it dries. I have to hurry before it dries. Ah! Ah! Quick. Quickly, me. Quickly, me. Okay. I did it. Okay. Okay, I did it. Woo! I wasn't thinking when I decided to use this big brush. Chappie, off. Off. I wonder what the heck she's barking at. Maybe we got a delivery or something. Okay, I'm seeing if I can squeeze any more paint out of this brush, but it's not really coming out, so put that big one in there, wipe my hands on my bonus towel. Oh, Wolf! Welcome, thank you for joining me, and thank you for resubscribing! Yay! Woof! You're hearing that, Chappie? Did you hear her big bark? Scared the crap out of me, as usual. Now I'm gonna fix my secondary monitor so I can see chat good. How you doing, Wolf? So glad to see you. You like my little... Well, it's not really well placed right now. Like I found my camera. I found my second camera so that I could have a interesting, different view. It's not as close up as I hoped because it doesn't zoom, but maybe it's better for making it more interesting on times when it's not very easy to see from far away. That's my hope. Oh, thank you for joining me from work. Don't get yourself into trouble, though. I won't chat at you too much then, so that you can focus on your work. I'll just try to make it a nice, interesting stream for you. I very much appreciate that. Yay! Oh, my palette is too far to the side. There. Okay, let's see. Is everything where I want? Okay, let's continue painting the tail. We need more pigment. This is drying so Light. Ah, okay. I remember doing that. Because you work a tech job, right? I mean, it wasn't like I was on call. I was just sort of there in case something happened. And then I was the one that called people when it was something that was not a basic... I always called it first aid. We were first aid. And then we called the on-call people. Oh, that's much better. Much darker. Nice. I appreciate you choosing me. Yay! I appreciate that very much. So nice to be streaming with someone. And there's so many things you could be watching on YouTube. I'm honored. Hopefully can finish this piece pretty soon, as I thought I'd be able to finish it. I mean, maybe I can finish it this month still. It's just that the timing of doing Patreon rewards meant that I had to send another work in progress image because I have a limited amount of time to do Patreon rewards and to do my monthly roundup blog post. In order to get both done in a timely manner, because I can't do the blog post early, but I can do Patreon rewards early. So I definitely would like to finish this for May's rewards and get started on the next piece. Oh no! Are you close to taking the masking fluid off? Well, there's a story about that. I tried to take it off last week, and it is bonded to the paper. And I don't remember if I did this, but I started troubleshooting, looking up, why? Why won't it come off? The paint was coming off instead of the masking fluid. I must have used the heat gun to dry it. Or I must have used the heat gun on something else when after the masking fluid was applied, because I can't remember where I saw it. I think it was in my favorite watercolor instruction book. Said that basically using heat to dry it will bond it to the paper. So that didn't work. I was very disappointed. I wanted to be able to show how fun it is. I prefer not to use masking fluid in general, but it is super fun to remove it. Or not even just masking fluid, but you can use masking tape, or you can tape down like a shape of some, I don't know, whatever shape, like cut out of cardboard or something. And then when you pull that off, it's just so cool looking. But yeah, could not show that. So but it's not the end of the world, because I'll just use gouache or white ink on it, and it will be, or maybe I'll even do scraping, because then it'll have a nice texture to it, like a fur. Well, maybe not necessarily a fur per se texture, but it'll have a texture the way that fur has a texture. So it's a completely savable issue, but it's sad. So sad that I could not pull it off in multiple senses. In literal and figurative sense of pulling something off. So yeah, I'm just painting over the spots with the masking fluid. Okay, first Gryphon. Oh no, not done, because we didn't do the head, because I needed the smaller brush, and I thought the first baby was done. Nope. Alright, first baby, let's get some paint on the front part of your face. The part that's in front of the strap for the hat. don't want to just paint it all flat black. I'm trying to get some indication of shading for this first pass. And then the feet here also need more paint. Well, I say feet. I guess I should have said claws, because it's 1 foot, but there are 3 claws showing on it. I must have had to trim this brush at some point because it doesn't have a super pointy tip. It's kind of a blunted tip. It must have had some frayed pieces and I had to trim them. So it's just a little bit difficult, even though the brush is so small, to get into these really tight corners here on the claws. But I did it. I did it. Okay, while that dries, I'm going to flip it over. I don't know how well you can see. I want to paint this one. I think you can see on that little camera. Okay, you can sort of see what I'm working on. And if I bring it over. That's a bit better. Okay, this one is drying, so I'm turning it upside down so that I can paint this Gryphon. And then when this one is done, this should be dry and I can flip it back over to paint the one in the middle. Tail done. Next bit. I hope I have enough paint. It's starting to get low already. No paint. Blast through all 3 Gryphons, please. Okay, the next bit is these 4 feathers, and then there's a little bit more of the the rump showing. And this is a spot where having the 2 different colors of black is excellent because it's right next to some of the adult Gryphons. So really be able to see the difference, and it'll help, especially right here, I think, where the 2 wings are overlapping. So you can more easily tell which is which. Sometimes I have to get more water on my brush, not because I need water to spread the paint, but because I need water to get the tip of the brush to stick together. If it gets too dry, it kind of splays and stays out that way. But if you have enough water, then the bristles are pulled in by the water itself. Man, I might even have used the smaller brush. This is the second smallest I have for this project right now. But it's working. It's working. Hopefully if you can hear all the outside noise from the neighborhood, it's nice and pleasant. Because it's just so nice a day. I gotta have my window open. It's that time of year where you can just have the windows open and it's the perfect temperature. And there's the lovely sound of the wind and the birds, and I mean, even sometimes the airplanes going overhead and stuff, even that is kind of nice ambient noise. But before you know it, it'll be summer, and it'll be so hot that opening the window just blasts you in the face with this, like opening an oven door. But enjoy the nice weather while it lasts. It was even nicer this morning because it was cloudy. All my beloved clouds went away. But it was awesome for my run. I ran with my dog Aoife, my big dog Aoife. It was so awesome. Man, maybe I should just go to my smaller brush because there's so many little, with all these small bits of the cupcake on this baby. It's actually a lot of little nooks and crannies to deal with. Yeah, I think I will. So there is one section right here that I could tackle with this larger brush, but I would have to change midway again, and I don't like that. It's so stressful because I don't want it to dry out before I've changed brushes. But it takes a second to wet the brush, get it loaded with color. Yeah, we'll just do the whole thing with this nice small one brush, size 1. And right here too is excellent because this baby is on top of its parent. So you can really see the contrast between the brown black and the green black. This brush is a little bit wild. Like it's got a little bit more, I don't know how to describe it. It's a little more unpredictable in its brush strokes, which makes cool marks. But I'm always like, what the heck? I'm just like constantly here. My brain is like, this is not quite exactly what I expect this brush to do. Must be the fibers. There's a little sprinkle, cupcake sprinkle. Doing my best to retain it. Don't let it get obliterated by the other paint. I'm still having issues with it drying before I can get more paint and apply the next layer, but it's okay. I may be able to smooth it out still if I go over the whole thing with some water. That's what I'm doing now. Well, that's a bit better. Working the areas where I was seeing those lines, where it was drying too quickly. Okay, and bring some more pigment into this wet area. So as we move up the side of the head, I think that it actually would get lighter naturally anyway, but right here is actually under the head, so I don't think it should be lighter. Whew, goodness. Not done with this one yet though. Time to do these claws. I think I am gonna have to mix some more paint. This just does not seem like enough for this whole big Gryphon. I mean, it's a small Gryphon, it's a baby one, but it's bigger than this one. This one here. As I hoped, adding more color to these baby Gryphons is making this look much more completed. Though there's still plenty to work on, even once we finish all three of these little guys. Oh, what shall I do? I guess I will mix some more paint. At least this one can have its color be all the same, uniform within its own body, even if it's not the same color as its siblings. Let's see. I'll move my bonus camera a little bit. Oh, I guess that's alright. Okay. Big brush is best for mixing. And now that this brown paint has sat in the water for a while, should be plenty of pigment to pick up. Okay, put that down. Let's see if I can squeeze out a drop or two. Not much. Let's see. I don't know if this is enough, actually. Let's get some more brown. Just mixing and mixing, trying to get enough pigment so that it's not just super watery. Let's see about that. I guess that's all right. Let's get some black paint. That's pretty close. to what I initially mixed. It definitely won't be the same because I used the leftover greenish black, but that's pretty close. So let's just use this. I guess I'll go ahead and use this big brush like I did on this one. Ah, no! It flipped a little bit of black paint onto the white part of the adult. No, 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 no. Holding my... No, it's still doing it. Holding my towel on here and try to protect it. Okay, I guess I gotta brush slower, so as not to flick paint. Let's move to a smaller brush for this. There's a little like triangle and then a couple of patches on the head. Should I do the teeny brush? We'll do this one. Second to smallest brush. This paint is a bit more watery than the first batch, so I'll probably have to go over it again to get it as dark as the other two. Oh, there's a little hair on the sheet. No. Get out. There, got it. Getting rid of little pet hairs that get on my watercolor paper is mostly just because I am bothered by them, but there's a practical reason as well. Sometimes if you don't realize they're there, they can pick up some paint and then you end up touching it, moves the hair, and the hair drags the paint across, so you get this little small line of paint where you didn't want it. So that's why I especially wanted to get rid of that one, because it was halfway in the area I was painting. Woo! Now this wing is still too light, but let's let that dry and then we'll add some more paint on top, and that gives us time to try to get more pigment out of the... Oh, look what I can do. I can move this over here like this. Well, it's upside down, but here's an interesting close-up while I mix paint, which is not that interesting to watch. Alright, you could watch mixing paint, or you could look at the details on that secondary camera. It's just way easier for me to purposefully mix instead of hope that I'm getting it if I pull this down and I can see into this well. It really is getting to the point where I'm just going to have to put some new paint in here though. I like to use everything up though, as much as possible. Yeah, man, that just deposited some bits of dry paint into my water bowl. Alright, it's looking a bit more pigmented. Now let's get some black. I'm mixing this a lot because the brush picked up so many little chunks of brown paint that they're sort of expanding here in the mixing area. So I'm trying to mix them so that it's smooth, so that I don't get like this big chunk of brown paint that goes and it's a very different color from everything around it. I think maybe just a bit more black. Okay, let's call that good. Move this back up. Alright, now I think I need to paint. I've been painting in sections for the most part, trying to get those lines on purpose between. But the shading, the light source doesn't really care that much. So I want to paint now with the idea of the overall lighting. So painting it as a whole instead of bit by bit. Switching to a still large but smaller brush than what I was using to get these smaller spaces. I'm going to use my towel to pull away some color to give it a lighting effect. But I've got to get everything on the page first. What are those? Those are so cute. Those little emails. Look at this kitty with a magnifying glass. I'm looking forward to doing some more of my own emotes. I keep having other typical chibi projects I want to work on though. With this. Alright. Now, let's rinse this out real quick. Take my brush, put my brush down. Take my towel and pat areas to pull away color, because that's where the light should be hitting. And it's always good to keep picking up your towel, because you can pull up so much paint that you end up depositing it back down instead of absorbing more. Learned that the hard way. So right here, actually, I do want a little more. I want to bring this back right under the beak. Because right under the beak should be casting a shadow. Can you set one sub icon as the default or max if you don't have one for that month yet, since we only have a few months so far? I'm not sure. Oh, you mean like the little tofu that I made? I wonder if I can. I heard that since you have the first, like you have that little first because you're one of my first subscribers, I think that it won't show up for you no matter what. But I could see about that. I just set it at the #1 slot, like the earliest slot. But yeah, I can look into that. So it would be nice if everybody used it, even if if everybody had one, regardless of how long it's been. I think that's what you mean, right? So that the tofu icon will actually be used. But yeah, I think that because of that first badge, it won't show up for you or Exie or Sarah. I think y'all are my most. Yeah, it says 3 subscribers. So y'all are my subscribers and my first subscribers. So yeah, that's sad. I feel like first subscribers ought to be able to choose. Yeah, I'm a first subscriber, so I can choose whichever one I want. I feel like that would be nice. Okay, I'm just adding a little bit of shadow on the claws. Yeah, those food sub icons is definitely what I'll go to next after I finish these chibi caricature projects. This week I hope to finish my personal one. And then I have a gift one to make because someone redeemed their birthday gift just today. So it'll be a pet caricature next. And then it should be back to those little food icons. Oh, Exie, hello! How are you? Yay, so happy to see you! So happy to see the ranger in there too. Yay, so happy to see this stuff being used. Thank you for joining me. I hope you're doing great. Next I need to work on the tail, but I painted the rest of the body first, so I'm going to work on the tail upside down. You're welcome. So glad to hear it. Oops, a little bit of brush came off here. Hold on. There's a little broken piece of brush in the paint. The heck? Well, I brushed it off to the side at least. I'm running out of color again already. Yeah, I'm gonna have to just get more brown out. This is not enough paint. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same thing with the tail. Hopefully the back is dry enough that it won't suck this paint up. I want it to be similar idea to, like, especially right here where I can towel away some paint to get a sense of lighting. What projects are you working on, Exie? I'm trying to get these little tiny bits in here between the tassels. Oh, and I never painted the tail of this other one. Ah, I forgot about the other tail. There's so many tails to paint. Oh, making a game. Oh, is it the one that you shared in the Discord the other day? Where you had already made like 2 or 3 dozen different pieces. Oh, nice. Oh, the laundry's done drying. It's not my laundry today. That should be a reward with the channel points. Sing the laundry song. Do 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 do. Wonder if that's a jingle that they made up for this brand's washers, or is that another one like our Zojirushi hot water maker uses, like some sort of classical piece by Bach or something. The hot water maker goes do 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 do. Yes, it plays that whole bit to announce that the water is at the desired temperature. Then my sister identified it because I always have the classical radio on, and it was playing on the classical radio station. So she was able to identify it with like the Google whatever thing, Google song search thing. Oh, nice. Hope you like it. And my youngest sister had this. This is my old streaming camera. So I had not misplaced it. I just completely forgot that I gave it to her, and she wasn't using it anymore, so yay! Unfortunately, it doesn't zoom, so this is the best I could do. Oh, yay! Yay, I'm so glad! I'm so glad you love it! I thought it would be a little bit more fun, something different, and I can move it around more. I don't like to move this one because I have it angled right for the angle of my desk and everything. But this one, oh, hi! Sorry, I'll try not to make everybody dizzy by messing around like that too much, but boop. I was hoping that I could also zoom, but it doesn't have any zoom. It doesn't even have digital zoom. So forget what is it called? Digital zoom versus optical zoom. It doesn't have digital zoom, much less optical zoom. But it's still something. Still interesting, different. Okay. Where are we now? Oh, it's just about break time. So maybe I will take my break because, oh look, Wolf's taking a break too. See you in a minute, Wolf. Yeah, let's take break early and then I'll come back and mix some more paint for these other Gryphons because there's definitely not enough paint. So I put this right here. Boop. Okay, I'm gonna go have a stretch and a walk and a general break. I hope everybody else will do the same. Be back in 5 minutes. Hello everyone, I am back. Hope you had a great break. I did. I'm actually gonna take a drink of my smoothie though. Not my smoothie in my shaker bottle. I didn't finish it. It's partially due to streaming earlier, but just not that hungry today. Like, not that I'm not hungry or something, but recently I've been like terribly hungry with a huge appetite, like an outsized appetite. Not today, normal appetite. Nice. So, I was digging in my watercolor drawer and I found this older palette. It has more of the brown that I want. And I realized, hold on, let me get it out. I realized that this new watercolor set that Sarah gave me for my birthday, it's interesting, it's the Chinese version of the Winsor Newton watercolor set. But it has 24 colors. This has, I believe, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. This has 24 wells, so I figure I will repurpose this. I'm going to try to move these colors over here or something and put these in this one because it's got the perfect amount of wells. So I'm going to close this one up, set it off to the side, and we'll use this for the rest of today at least. Maybe the rest of the piece because I don't want to switch to a different kind of watercolor, a different brand, because the pigment might be made out of different materials, and so I don't want it to... I just worry it might make the image look weirdly disjointed or something like that. So, this is the one that I can't remember the last time I painted with this, but I feel like, especially seeing this color, it was a commission from back when I did Artist Alley Artist Alley at fan conventions, and I did a watercolor chibi. That pink color is really, really nostalgic to me. Okay, so now let's try to mix. So we've got these interesting leftover colors, and as I always like to do, just use the leftover color. These wells are smaller than that other one, but there's a lot more of this brown paint, and I hate wasting stuff. I like to save money and save stuff by using it as much as I can, so. Oh, I never turned my mic back up. There. Turn it down so that I'm not like a jump scare when I come back from break. This palette is not quite enough wells for these paints, and the ones that I just moved over there are Sakura Koi brand / line, and the set I have comes with 18 colors. This is only 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So a lot of these I have 2 in here, 2 in here, 2 in here, 2 in here. No. 2 in here and 2 in here. They're sharing wells. Makes me think I should just get a palette with 18 wells so that they'll each have a dedicated space to be. I'm still just waking up this paint. I have not used this palette in years and years. But that's why I like watercolors so much. You can leave the paint sitting there, not particularly protected, just with the lid closed, and all you need is some water and wake it right up. It's nice having the bowl right here to rest my hand on while I'm doing this. wonder if it might be better if I move my... It doesn't really fit though. Okay, I'm going to let that sit for a second. So I have an idea. It's always a little worrisome having my palette up here because going like this from water to palette and then also mixing little sprays of color might come out and hit my illustration. But I do have this rolling sort of drawer, and it's not a desk, it's just a little 18 by 18 sort of inch space. But maybe if I put it on my left side, it doesn't quite fit though. It's kind of awkward. Dang it. I was hoping to be able to put it over there. Alright, you're hearing it go back to the right. But then I have to sit where I'm centered like over here. That's really awkward, so it's not going to work. Maybe if I put my towel over here, move this one just a tad. Oh, what if I move my guys? I've got my coaster set from Olympia Soare. They've been sitting there cheering me on for the past year. But maybe I'll move them over to the other side. And they can cheer me on from the right. Olympia Soare is an extremely good otome game. If you like otome games, it's extremely good. I don't have a favorite character because all the routes are super good. All the stories are super good. Okay, I'm going to move this. Now that that is moved... Okay, I still gotta move a little bit over. Ah! That's better. Here, I can sort of show you with this camera. Yep. There. So now my colors are on the same side as my brushes, which this is the hand, my dominant hand, and then less worry about accidental drips and stuff. Haha. Yay. Okay, now I have to adjust this camera again. Yep. Yep. Oh, nope, that's taking it away. I guess that's all right. Now I gotta move that over. Okay. Yay, let's try this. Let's try this setup. This might be better anyway. I needed to figure something out about that anyway because I got some birthday money and some late birthday money, and I decided to use it to get a wireless keyboard and mouse, like a good one that works. And so I was going to put it right under here. So I need that to be clear anyways. Those are going to arrive on Saturday, so that I can pull them out and be like, let's raid, and I don't have to go over there to my other workstation. And I can do other things too. Like I have a keyboard here and a mouse over here for my laptop, which this camera is currently sitting on closed. And with these wireless ones, I can just take the dongle and put it in, either put it in my laptop here or put in my PC there, and just move the things over, and then that's less stuff in general if I have one that I share between the two, because I don't use them at the same time. I just use them for different things. Basically, if I need to do a meeting, I use my laptop. So the camera, my monitor is too big over there to do a meeting. The camera would have to be off to the side, which is awkward for the person watching. Oh, hello. Welcome back. Is that why you're saying hello? Oh. Hello. Hello again. It's funny. I was like, what's going on? Why are you struggling? Oh, you're being kind. So it's slow. The word slowly appears. It's so funny. Okay, hold on. I'm getting a little more gulps of my delicious green smoothie. Yum. Okay. Let us actually keep working on this. Okay. Mixing. I need some black paint. The black paint on this palette has its own well, so I don't have to worry about mixing it with other colors. That's actually probably why I gave it its own well, because it's such a strong color that it overpowers anything. Just waking that up a little bit. Alright, let's plop this on here. Plop the color onto the palette. Yes, you must plop it. This is cool. I'm mixing it with a bit of old blue. Oh man, I gotta remember there's a space for you to use this palette to put your thumb in. I need to remember that's there and not accidentally like spread the paint onto my desk. Okay. Brown. Add in the brown. I think that color is good, but it's not very much. I guess I'll just mix per Gryphon, because that's what I sort of am ending up having to do anyway. First thing, let's tackle this tail that I missed the first pass of today. Aw, this brush is too big. Let's go to a smaller brush. Man, I don't know if you can hear that dog barking outside, but they've just been barking for like 45 minutes now. I feel bad for them. They must be really bored to be just barking. Just barking for that long. Maybe they're live streaming. That's what I'm doing. I'm barking for almost 2 hours. Just barking to myself. I wonder if that's what my dogs think, because they're in here with me. They don't know what live streaming is. I just talk to myself all this time, and they patiently wait for me to be done. Oh, hey. The dog got self-conscious because the barking stopped. Just as I said something about it. All right, towel time. I want to not take off too much paint since I missed this the first time. Pretty good. Yay. Okay. Rest of the body. What size brush do I want? I guess I'll use this one. I'll get the whole area wet first and then put the color down so that I don't have to deal with any of those lines. Or wet on dry happening by accident. some of these little sprays of paint that are happening just because I think the brush is catching on this textured paper. It catches a little bit, and then once it finally reaches the limit, it goes shoop. And there's these teeny tiny little specks of paint. I think I'll clean those up in Photoshop at the end. Oh, the barking is starting again. The dog is fairly off in the distance, so I don't know if you guys are hearing it. Okay, now adding pigment. Especially trying to get this wing to be less contrasty. It's a little too different from the main body. There we go, there we go. I was thinking the other day that all of this would be so much faster if I just did it digitally. But then I would not get the look that I want, so too bad. My illustration is just going to take a long time. I don't want to make my stuff for quantity. I want to make it for quality, and not quality in that digital work is less valuable or something, but quality in the inherent nature of the thing. Okay, towel time. Now, the parent, I think, might be casting a fair bit of shadow. I decided that this would be diffuse lighting anyway, because they're in a canopy of tree leaves, so there's not that much, if any, really direct light. But I do want a sense of shape and depth, so trying to find that balance. That's pretty good. Let's let that dry and work on this small one in the corner. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm glad you're liking it. I hope that I have not really been able to look at what is this camera doing, but I hope that seeing it from the multiple angles is working out. It is cool now that I'm looking at it. So right here, the paint is so wet that this upwards camera, it's just a big reflection. But here on this one, since it's at an angle, you can see the overall color and contrast better. So that's cool. Yay! Okay, I'm shaking up. I also have my bottle of mineral water. This was the first half of my smoothie. I make giant smoothies that have like 700 to 900 calories, and then it serves as my breakfast and lunch. So it needs 2 bottles. And I just like doing that because then I get like all my daily servings of fruits and vegetables in a single thing. Tons of protein because I put soy milk and a serving of just like canned beans in, which, believe it or not, completely lose their flavor when it's mixed in with everything else. And it's just so convenient too because I don't have to spend any time figuring out what to eat, taking the time to make it, waiting for it to heat up or cook or whatever, you know. No, I could just get going on the stuff I want to do and not be hungry. Okay, I will turn this upside down again because this Gryphon's still quite wet and I do not want to accidentally get my hand in there. Yeah, breakfast and lunch on weekdays. Breakfast and lunch on weekdays is my lovely green smoothie. And I have a typical dinner on weekdays. Oh, I love cooking too. It's tough. Cooking is definitely one of my hobbies. But on work days, it's just so much else I want to do. So what I do instead for cooking, I have last year I started a tradition that I had been thinking about for a while, which is seasonal feasts. So they're not on a typical popular holiday day. They're just like, hey, this weekend is going to be the spring feast, which I actually did last weekend. And then I choose like a bunch of recipes and have themed food and everything and invite all my local family. Or, for instance, over my birthday, when I did the Lord of the Rings marathon, I not only did the marathon, I cooked a feast every day based on British Isles food. So yeah. I love cooking too. It's so fun. A long time ago, I heard something that was like, oh, studies show that people enjoy food more when they didn't have to cook it. And I'm like, not me. They didn't study me because I love eating the food that I cooked. It's not just about cooking. It's not just about serving my family and friends food that I made. It's about eating it myself, too. I love it. What have you cooked most recently, Exie? Do you cook every day? Okay. Got a nice patch of paint mixed up. But I definitely want a smaller brush because this is very small. Lots of nooks and crannies. But this one is so floppy. I don't like how floppy this one. Let me see if I have another small brush. I want one that has a bit more control. I guess a bit more stiff. Alright, getting in my closet with all my brushes. Let's go this one or this one. I guess I'll try this one. Oh, we've been too busy. Yep. It's hard. That's why I schedule so much of my life out, so that I can be sure to have time for all the things I want to do. Most recent thing I cooked were some Filipino dishes, which I've never made before. Unfortunately, I tried to make lumpia. That didn't work that well. The flavor was good, but the texture and the presentation was it was just horrible. Because we use these rice wrappers, but they did not fry up very well. So I've got to find some other wrapper to try to use. And then, but something that did turn out well, we made adobo sagata with tempeh and pineapple and coconut milk, and it was so good. And it was so easy too. You just serve it on rice, and yeah, all it was it's actually on the Food Empowerment Project, so our charity of the month. It's on their Filipino food page. But so the instructions are super simple. Just marinate the tempeh, like cut the tempeh into chunks, like bite-sized chunks. Marinate it in soy sauce and garlic. And it said marinate for 30 minutes, but because the lumpia didn't work out well, it marinated for like 2 hours, which actually I think was great. Then let's see, what was the next thing? Fry them up. Fry up the tempeh, fry up the pineapple chunks, then add the coconut milk and I think some seasonings, I can't remember, and then just cook it until it's kind of thick. Sounds great. Yeah, it was so good and it was so easy that I would definitely make that one again. I actually doubled the pineapple and doubled the coconut milk and just cooked it down longer, and it was so good. Everybody loved it. Yum, 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 yum. I love pineapple so much too. Pineapple is so tasty. Pineapple is probably my favorite fruit. So, well, we'll say pineapple is my favorite tropical fruit. I think it's tropical fruit. And my favorite... Oh, what's the climate that pears come from? Whatever climate pears come... Temperate? I think temperate. Anyway, pears are my favorite temperate fruit. Unless there's a better word than that. I should find some recipe that has pineapples and pears together. When I was a kid, I thought cherries were my favorite fruit. But actually, it was the sugary, syrupy maraschino cherries that were my favorite. Not the kind that's like fresh off trees. No, the kind that's like soaked in syrup. I mean, I like cherries, but they're definitely not my favorite. Not like pineapple. Tasty, tasty pineapples. I think I'm going to have to do some scraping on this section because it's drying. It's such a small area that it's drying so fast. I can't really pull much off. But that's okay. And I love, you can really tell the difference. I mean, there's also a contrast difference. But I think you can also tell the color difference between the greenish black for the adults and the brown black for the kids. It's sad that this camera is like way the heck. This is the part I'm working on. It's like the farthest farthest thing. Oh, by the way, the brush I got. Oh, look, this is so cool. Look, I can show it real close. Oh, it's really disorienting. I cannot figure out how to do it. Okay. Oh, but it doesn't focus on that. All right, it doesn't work. I got another round brush, of course, but this is a size 0. And it's got the flexibility that I wanted, a little more stiff. Oh, right. I wanted to color the whole body in and then apply the paint. Except for the feet. We'll leave the feet because they're so far separated from the rest of the body, being forward from it. But I want to stop working in pieces for the wings and stuff. So let's get this whole section wetted down and then we'll apply the color on top of that and it should smoothly spread across the whole thing. I just have to be careful not to get any water on areas that I don't want the paint to go. There's a cute bird out there. It's going ooh doo doo. Like a little, I don't know if you heard that. It's like a whistle. Like hoo hoo hoo. Such a nice day that after dinner I think I might play Animal Crossing outside. Go sit on the back patio with my Switch. And even with someone is doing some construction or sawing or something out there, and there's this loud sound, but even that is still just sort of, I can still accept it as ambient noise because it's far enough away. Okay, now I put the paint in, and it just feathers out. Oh, the paper's already drying. No, don't dry already, paper. I'm still having to work relatively quickly because it's such a small area that it dries very quickly. Yep, this part going up to the face is already quite dry. Put some more water on it. Whew. Okay, now towel time. I'm using just a teeny tiny itty bitty tip of the towel. So I don't want to just completely take away everything I so painstakingly put down. Okay, let's let that dry before working on the feet. I think looking at it now, I'd like to do another pass on this one. I'm pretty happy with how this one's looking. I think it will need some more some more paint right here. But overall, this Gryphon is still way too light compared to the other two. Let me mix some more paint. There's still some on the palette, but I doubt it will last, so let's just mix some more. Sweet. Bird out there. Pew 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 pew. So cute. I love hearing the birds singing. And there's such a wide variety of sounds too, and a lot of them are from the same birds. I don't know what it is, but growing up I sort of always, I guess it's because, you know, you're taught as a kid, like, cow goes moo, cat goes meow. That kind of thing, like, as if animals can only make a single sound. And so it's sort of carried on into the idea, like, well, this is what a chickadee sounds like. This is what a crow sounds like. Yeah, like crows. They mostly make variations on the same kind of sound, like the caw, caw, caw. But some birds have a huge range of sounds that they can make. And of course, like with mockingbirds and stuff, they can, well, depending on the bird, but some species of birds can imitate even mechanical sounds and people talking, human people talking. So it wasn't even until very recently that my eyes were open, like, wow. For example, we have mourning doves here, and when I was a kid, I identified them making this sound that is the origin of their name, I think, and it kind of goes, ooh, ooh, like it sounds really sad. But it was only a few years ago that I realized, oh, there's this other sound that they make. And it's totally different. It doesn't... I never thought it was the same bird all this time. I was hearing it, but I just always thought it was a different bird. But no, it's them. And another cool thing about bird sounds, some bird sounds are literally just the sound of their wings flapping in the air. It was so cool when I realized that. I can't remember if it was ducks or geese, but I was hearing them overhead, and I was like, wow, they make this weird whistling sound. And then I realized that they are not making that like a voice. Like, it's not their voice making that sound. It's just their wings whistling through the air super fast. And then, of sort of, the Doppler effect and everything as they go overhead. And yep, my eyes have been open to the amazing world of birds. Like, part of it is probably, what is it? I'm trying to look for it on my shelf. Oh, it's a book called The Bird Way, and it's all this relatively recent science about birds, and it's just so fascinating. And was like, what? Birds are so cool. And I have all these bookmarks in it for inspiration for my Gryphon characters. Like, oh, I think it was Caledonian crows, at least by human estimates. Of course, it's always limited by what our own creativity in judging it, but it seems that the Caledonian crow is one of the smartest birds on the planet. So that's just, that kind of thing helps me when I'm thinking of, well, what kind of bird would be the front half of this Gryphon, based on what the character is like, and stuff like that. Okay. Much happier with the depth of the color on this one. Maybe gonna lift up a little bit just along this edge of this wing, the closer wing, so that it is separated from the other wing, which is on paper is right next to it, but there should be a little bit of distance where the back is in between the two wings. So hopefully lifting up a little color there will help that happen visually. And maybe we'll take a little bit off of here where the head is facing straight up. So light is coming from the sun, so it should be coming from above. It's not like a sunset or sunrise scene. Oh, it dried so fast I'm not really getting anything. Oh well. Oh, and let's do another pass on the tail, because the tail is now looking fairly light compared to the rest. Just getting water down on the page now. Okay, now some paint. Oh, needs more. Needs more for the tip of the tail. Wow, it's suddenly very quiet outside. Oh, yay! I'm glad to hear it. Yay! I'm glad you're loving it. Getting really close to done in some area. The nest still needs a ton of work. It's all just that flat color. The nest, the cupcakes, the faces of these babies. We're still not done with those. But painting the feathers and, well, a little bit of the fur. Not so much of the fur of these Gryphons is showing up, but painting those areas had the effect I wanted, which is to really move it along and looking closer to done. Just for my own psychological satisfaction. Okay, I have 12 minutes left. can work on the faces, or we could work on something smaller that doesn't require, because I need to look at reference images for the faces, so I think I'd like to work on something that doesn't necessarily need any extra help, that I can paint from imagination, since it'll take like 5 minutes for me, well, maybe not 5 minutes, but it'll take like 3 minutes for me to get the reference images up and find the one I want and all that stuff. So maybe, well, let's first work on these tassels on the hats, on the party hats. They've been sort of bothering me because everything else is getting painted around them, and then they just look so flat and sad. So let's liven them up a little bit. How about I'll mix, oh, why am I mixing with a tiny brush? Let's get a big brush. I want to paint with the tiny brush, but let's mix the paint with a big brush. Let's use this nostalgic pink color from ages ago on my palette. I think it's just red and white. Yep, got that. So I woke that old bit of paint up, but it's pretty much the same color as what's on there, so let's add a little bit more to darken it up. I was trying to get some purple. Let's see what's like when I add some purple. Oh, that's not nearly enough. Okay, I'll keep working this purple until it wakes up. Wake up, purple! Ah, that's better. That's not really a shadow color so much as just a different color. But let's try that, because maybe the tassels are reflecting a light in a way that makes them look iridescent or something. Let's pick up some of this paint. Let's work on this little one, because this might be wet still, this area where I did the tails. That was the last thing I worked on. So let's work on this space. Oh, it's tough because they're so small. So easy to overdo it. Even the size 0 brush. Size 0. So I wiped my brush off and then dipped it in just a little bit of water so that it would pick up a little bit of water to spread this paint. But I don't want too much, or else it'll bubble on the page and then bring the paint out of the boundaries that I want it to sit in. And I'm doing my best to not simply paint over all of the pink that is on the page already. I want to leave some of that. Well, I hope you're able to see this. Haha, I was not painting on that secondary camera. There you go. Oh, that's so much better already. Yeah, there won't be very much I can do in there, even with ink, because it's just so small. Is this dry yet? I think I can risk working on this one, because it was this backmost tail that I was working on, so that's this one. So we'll work on this one, and hopefully it'll be dry enough for the one on the left after that. At least these being closer, there's a little bit more room to work. like show some sense of lighting or depth or something. Alright, I'm going to do the same thing, rinse out my brush, wipe it off, and just pick up a tiny bit of water and spread the paint that way. Okay, last one. Are you dry? Feels dry. So there's these little tiny itty bitty bits of paper in between colors here that are not getting any paint. It's not really a halo effect, it's just a sort of little speckle effect. I'm trying to eliminate that with a little bit of extra paint, but I don't want to add too much or it'll look weird. I just want to barely touch those spaces, just so they're not white anymore. Whew. Few minutes left. Let's add a little bit darker color. So at this point, maybe I'll add some blue. Yeah, that's nice. Makes it sort of like royal purple kind of color. Hopefully that will make a nice... It's still full of white though, because the original color was mixed with white. So I'm also going to add a touch of green. Yeah, there we go. So now I want it to, with what little space I have to do this, I want to get a bit of shadow look, if I can. So over here again, let these ones dry. Since this one's so far away, we don't have to do the details, just do a little bit right near the tip of the hat. Oh, that's nice. To add a tiny touch more right in the middle. Come on. There. Alright, just let that dry like that. Mostly keeping it near the tip of the hat where they'd be all bunched together and casting shadows on each other. They being the tassels. This one has not as many tassels on the hat. Ah, perfect. Perfect timing. 1600 in my time. Which means it's quitting time. Okay, so, well, we've had this cool view the whole time, but for the first time all stream, I shall lift this up for a close-up on the main camera. So we did tons of work on the black parts of the baby Gryphons, and then a little bit of work on the tassels on their hats today. Which really makes this look like it's come so far along. Yay! Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you everybody for joining me today. I'm so happy. Let's see. So I don't have my cordless keyboard and mouse yet, so I do need to get up and go over to my other workstation, my PC workstation. Let's find someone to stream. I was going to say let's find someone to stream. Well, I guess that's sort of what I'm finding. Let's find someone to raid. Let's see. Well, let's raid David Peterson again. You know what? I think there's about only usually one day a week that we can raid David Peterson when he overlaps with us. Let's see. Okay, gotta move this over here. And open a new tab with Twitch. And yeah. /raid David Peterson. Okay. Boom. The raid has been created. Hooray! Alright, while the countdown goes, I want to thank you for joining me. I'll be back tomorrow with more of this illustration. I'll probably just leave my workstation literally exactly the same and not touch anything. So I hope to see you then. But the raid is ready, so let's go! Alright, nice. The raid worked. So if you are still on my channel right now or watching the recording, that's it for me today. As I said, I'll be back tomorrow, same time. That's the updated time of half an hour earlier than usual. Hope to see you then, and thank you for watching!